Hey y'all, I'm telling you, I'm lucky to be here. I almost choked on an Oreo while I was watching Wheel of Fortune tonight with my mom. I was popping Oreos in my mouth, trying to guess the right consonants, and I swear my life flashed before my eyes. I started wheezing on that Oreo piece that went down the wrong side of my throat. Anyway, I wanted to do a bit of a wrap up, a currently inked wrap up for this month. Because I wanted to talk about the pens and inks that I used, and I sort of have. I feel like I'm starting to develop a more rigorous and structured. I think the word I'm looking for is structured. I think I've developed a more structured style of ink journaling, and I've been really enjoying it. So I thought I would come on here and talk about the inks and give them a rating or whatever. Well, maybe I won't give them a rating, but we'll talk about it. So this is my ink journal. I think I'm going to see if I can zoom you in a little bit here. So I'm just going to go through this. Now, I just started this notebook, and I attempted to use these stamps, but it really kind of did not work out. Like, it's just showing too much on the other side of the page. So that has kind of been abandoned at this point. But the first color that we'll talk about is Octopus Fluids Phoenix. Now, the first thing that I want to say about this ink, it's right here. It's this big red one. I don't know. I only made little ink cards for a few of these, so sorry, I'm not a professional. I ran out of paper. But what's more important than that is that I have a writing sample in my little transcription notebook. Okay, here it is. So as you can see, it has the pen. Here is the writing sample. And this is the pen that I had put this ink into. This was a pen from Basil and Buns, which I thought was a really fun match. However, you know, the swatches of this ink looked so orange online. I couldn't hardly find no pictures of this ink online. So whenever I got it and inked it up and saw how red it was, I was just really disappointed, because I thought that I was going to get like a really fun orange ink, and instead it was red, and that's just not what I was expecting. The ink is fine. I mean, it has a little bit of sheen, but it's just not what I wanted. What I wrote about it, I said, this ink looks nothing like the photos online. It's basically like a less fun spin-off of Van Diemen's Dawn. It's alright, but nothing I need a bottle of. I think that's absolutely true. And the other thing with this ink, and this is not a problem with this specific ink per se, this is just something that you run into with bright reds or saturated oranges and even sometimes yellows. Sometimes they will crust up a little bit on the nib, and this one definitely did that. I have just recently, I think I just wiped it off yesterday, but it was a little bit crusty. That's just the nature of those type of inks. I've seen that happen in many different inks, so it's not really even a knock against this specific ink. It's just something to be on the lookout for if you're going to try this ink. Make sure to put it in a pen that you don't necessarily care that it gets crusty. Okay, so the next one we have is Octopus Fluids Orchid, and I put that in this pen. This is the Sailor 1911S. This is a pretty recent pen. This is the first Sailor I've tried that actually really, where I was like, oh, I get it. I feel like I understand why the appeal of the Sailor nib. And I know that this combo is like not matchy-matchy at all, but I still thought it was fun. I don't know, I just wanted to throw something bright in here because I thought it would be fun. So this ink, it is right here. It's like a bright magenta color. I wrote, this is a lovely, vibrant, and well-behaved ink. The shading is especially amazing on beautiful paper. Sometimes it has a tiny sheen. And I have a writing sample with this. However, this is really goofy. My writing sample, I had originally put this into a platinum little shooting star, like a platinum preppy, and I couldn't stand that pen at all. Like, I was able to transcribe this page, and then I had to just chuck it. Like, not chuck it in the trash. I chucked it back in the drawer, just to be clear. But I really do not like those platinum preppies, y'all. I don't like the nibs. But this is a good ink. I have used it before. I think this is my second or third time inking up with it. It's really nice. It's very saturated. It's a nice bright pink. It's well behaved. So next, this is an ink that I had never tried before, that I was really, I was very pleasantly surprised by this ink. I have been looking for sort of like an alternative to Colorverse's Fabulous Las Vegas, because that is an ink that really did not work out for me. It's just too light. Like, it's just not legible at all. So I had high hopes for this. I saw a few people on Instagram post some pictures and swatches of it, and this did not disappoint. Personally, I love this. So this is Van Diemen's Moon Jellyfish, and I put it in my little Franken pen. This is a Jinhao 82 with a Yovo nib on it. And it did great, and it was really, really fun. The shimmer was really consistent. What I wrote about it, I said, this ink has a slightly dry flow, and the shimmer can easily gum up your feed, but I still love this one. It's what I wanted from Colorverse Las Vegas. And let me pull out the writing sample here. I should have done the writing samples in order, but I don't know, I never do. Okay, here we go. So this is the writing sample. I find this to be like such a fun bubblegum pink that's still legible with a lot of sparkle and shimmer. It's just really fun. Okay, so next we have Rohrer and Klingner Goldgrun. This is like a really popular one, and I see why. Like, I've used this ink before, but this is the time that I used it where I really got it. I put it in this olive swirl pen from Derailed Pens. I really just sort of got it because I feel like this ink, it shades so well. Like, I never noticed before how well it shades, but when I was using it this time, it really, really has such dynamic shading. I wrote, this is a very well-behaved ink with a lot of dynamic shading. As far as olive greens go, this is a good one. It's worth the money. And I think that's absolutely true. Rohrer and Klingner ink bottles are like a lot more affordable than some of the other brands out there. And let me get out the writing sample. Here it is. So here's the writing sample. It's just a really nice, well-behaved olive color. It's a good one. Okay, so next we have Dominant Industry Autumn Forest, which I put into this Estabrook SD Botanical Gardens, which I thought was a really fun match. I don't know, this ink is fine, but I feel like it just didn't wow me. And I think that's possibly because the fill that I got in my pen didn't have enough of the shimmer in it. So yeah. I wrote, this ink is decently well behaved, but I may need a bigger nib or a drop of white lightning to see the ink at its full potential. And I wrote that not because the ink is dry, but because I felt like the shimmer wasn't coming through. But then after I wrote that, I looked at my converter, and I just had hardly any shimmer in my fill, which makes sense because I didn't agitate the bottle before filling hardly at all. So I guess that's just what you get. So I'm going to come back to this ink in the fall. I'm definitely going to try it again. But this is the writing sample. At least the base color is nice. It's like a very sort of khaki green color. And it behaves nice enough. It's pretty smooth. Okay, next we have Diamine Inkvent Appletini, and I put that in this little Franklin Christoph 45. I thought that would be a fun little pairing. And I thought it would be a fun little pairing, but I probably should have not, because I feel like the nib was a little bit too fine to really see the properties of this ink. I wrote, another ink that would have benefited from a bigger nib. I really like this color though. And that's true. Like when you get the color, it's really fun and bright. But in this nib, it's just not. This nib is just too fine for it. This is the writing sample. As you can see, I feel like this is really getting to the point of like struggling to be easily legible for most people. I feel like it's coming across a little bit darker on camera than it is in real life. Huh. But yeah, it's I personally found that one to be slightly difficult to read. Okay, so next we have this one is so fun. I love this one. This is Dominant Industries Atlantis. And can we talk about that shimmer? Like, oh my gosh. This one was so fun. I put it in my Benu Talisman Otherwise, which I thought was a really fun pairing. And I really love this color. Okay, I really love it. I feel like it is such a unique and interesting shade of blue. I wrote, this ink is such a great color. It's very unique. It's stunning when you get the shimmer in the light. And I do have a writing sample. Here it is. My lighting is kind of crap in here right now, but when the light hits the shimmer that you get from this, it's just so interesting. It's really a very unique blue. I've written the description down as a pale gray blue with blue shimmer. It's just a really interesting ink. I really love this one. Okay, so next we have the Ribbiting Pond, which is another blue that I really, really like. However, this one is a little bit temperamental. I'm just going to move this so you can kind of see the shimmer as well when the light hits it. I wrote, this ink is so lovely, but it is dry and not well behaved. I still love it though. That's absolutely true. This ink is annoying, okay? It can be very dry. It can clog your feed. It can be a struggle. This ink needs help. It needs like a very wet nib. And probably like a pretty broad nib too. This is the rotten sample. Even though it is like a temperamental, irritating, pain in my behind ink, I still just love it. I love the color. I love the shimmer. I feel like it's really pretty. I just really like this one still. Okay, last two we have Robert Oster Free Spirit. I loved this one. I was blown away by this one. And I feel like this pairing this was okay, so this wins my ink and pen pairing of the month. This was my winner Because look at this, guys. I put it in my Hogtown Pens Unicorn Galaxy, which is like a bright blue pen with just tiny little hints of like purple in it. Which is like exactly what this ink is, like a bright blue with hints of purple. I don't know. It was so fun, and the nib was juicy. The ink was well behaved for me. Loved this one. I wrote, this may be my pick of the month. Such a gorgeous bright blue. The pops of shimmer are so fun, and in this pen, it's the perfect combo. Let me get the writing sample here. Here we go. It's just it's a beautiful, bright turquoisey blue. I mean, it's so bright and fun. And whenever you get those pops of purple shimmer, it's just stunning. This one's really unique and stunning. I did buy a bottle of this. I was just obsessed with it. I bought a bottle right away because I liked it that much. Okay, last one. To me, this one was not a winner. This is Robert Oster Cosmic Swirl. And I put it in my Scriptorium Cotton Candy Abalone pen. This ink is fine. I just used a sample. I don't have a bottle of this. But it's just, to me, it's not anything. It doesn't have any properties that make it worth purchasing a bottle. There was not a ton of shading. It's not super unique. It's just a nice purple, and I have other nice purples, so I just don't feel compelled to purchase this one. So I wrote, it's alright, wouldn't buy a bottle. I mean, it was fun to try, but that's about all I can really say about it. It really didn't wow me, especially with how many just incredible purples there are on the market. I did find this one a little bit underwhelming. This is the writing sample. It's okay. I have other purples that I like better. Well, that is it. These are the pens. That was the inks. And that basically wraps up my June currently inked and what I thought of my pens and inks that I used. I'm recording this on July 1st. On July 4th is when I am inking up for July, since I'm off that day and will have time to do it, to clean out all my pens and ink up and everything. So I'd say my next video will be out, I don't know, fingers crossed, knock on wood, hopefully this weekend. We'll see. Alrighty, thank y'all so much for watching. Have a good day, and please do not choke on your Oreos while you're watching TV. Bye.